a very beautiful elegy that is composed, that is written by uh, Tennyson. So I will share you the image with all the four stanzas of that poem, and I will discuss with you. But before taking that poem means break, 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 or you can say that elegy, I just want to tell you two or three important points. This poem has been composed by Tennyson. This poem has been composed by
बहुत
Tennyson.
कट के आ रही है आपकी।
आवाज मेरी सबको कट रही है?
अभी अभी
क्लियर
जस्ट
है
क्लियर
सर?
हो गई।
नो सर, सही है सर,
देखिए मैं एकदम टॉप फ्लोर
क्लियर आ
पर
रही।
हूँ और इस अच्छा ओके दैट्स गुड। सो अगर कहीं पे आवाज कट रही होगी हो सकता है आपके साइड से नेटवर्किंग इशू हो। सो आई वाज टेलिंग यू कि व्हाट आई हैव टुडे फॉर यू, आई हैव टुडे फॉर यू a very beautiful poem, that is what, that is the break, break, break. And in that poem you find that that poem is an example of what, that poem is an example of elegy, and that elegy has been written by Tennyson. And Tennyson just you can say laments, cries, weeps on the sad demise of his friend. जो टेंशन है एक तरह से वो लैमेंट करते हैं, क्राई करते हैं, वीप करते हैं किसकी मौत पर? ऑन द सैड डिमाइज ऑफ हिज bosom friend Arthur Henry Hallam. His friend Arthur Henry Hallam is no more in this world, and you will come to know he cries, he laments, and when he cries, he laments. You find that it shows the agony of the poet, it shows the grief of the poet, it shows the miserable situation of the poet, the plight situation of the poet कि पोएट के लिए वो बहुत कुछ थे, पोएट के लिए वो बहुत कुछ थे। और पोएट जो है जब अर्ली एज में वो चले, क्या पोएट फील करता है, क्या जो है उसके अपने जज्बात है, he has shared through this elegy, and this elegy is the part of in memoriam. ये जो elegy है ये in memoriam का हिस्सा है। in memoriam एक उनका लॉन्ग नैरेटिव पोएम है जिसमें फिलोसफी को, थियोलॉजी को और कुछ साइंटिफिक थॉट को लेके he has composed that came in 1850, and you find that the present elegy, it is divided into four stanzas. Yeah, it has four stanzas and the rhyme scheme is A B C B. And you find कि in the first stanza the poet laments, cries, or you can say कि just the poet presents that he is in deep sorrow, in agony, he wants to utter something, he wants to say something, but he is helpless. He doesn't find anything to express. Yeah, he is not in position to express his emotions. Then he takes the help of what, he is standing near seashore and finds that the waves of the sea is dashing against the stony walls of the church where the poet's friend is buried down. So he finds that on the sad demise of his friend, not only poet himself is lamenting, but he finds that the sea is also crying, lamenting because its waves are dashing the rocky boundaries and just wants to touch the graves of his friend. And he says, break, break, break on thy cold grey stones, so see, and I would not utter. Utter means try to say something. The poet uses the word utter, which means try to say something. Means he wants to express, he wants to unfold, he wants to say something, but he is in deep sorrow, he is in agony, he is in miserable situation and unable to express his thought. That is the basic concept which you see there. And in the first stanza, the sea has been personified. When I talk about the second stanza, poet has taken two significant images. One is fisherman's boy and the sailor's lad. These two boys are, you can say, ki lad. They are enjoying, they are playing, they don't know the chemistry of life, they don't know ki a man in the form of the poet is standing near seashore, his friend is no more, he is crying or weeping. So in the second stanza, the poet has taken these two images only to tell to all of us this is life and these are the colors of life. अगर वह अनहैप्पी है तो वहीं पर समुद्र के किनारे कुछ लोग अपना बिजनेस कर रहे हैं, दे आर इन हैप्पी मूड. फिर उसके बाद जो है यू फाइंड दैट in the third stanza the poet has taken the image of the stately ships that is going on to their haven under the hill, that is not living thing but dynamic, not static like the poet. So what the image has been taken, whether that is the fisherman's boy, sailor's lad, or you can see stately ships, everywhere the poet finds life. Everything is in moving condition. Everything is in dynamic condition. Someone is singing, someone is playing, someone is इस सब कुछ अपनी अपनी ड्यूटीज को फराइज को अंजाम दे रहे हैं. लेकिन पोएट जो है, one who is a very sensible creature of God, he is mum, silent, wants to cry, wants to weep, wants to lament. It seems that he is without life. Yeah, his lifeless. Yeah, he is dead. Yeah, he is no more himself in this world. Because though he is alive, but you will come to know कि उसका जो आत्मा है वो अंदर से करा रही है. तो उस सिचुएशन को वहां पे उन्होंने क्या किया है, प्रेजेंट किया है. लास्ट स्टैंजा जो होता है वो काफी मार्मिक है, काफी अपील करता है. एंड द पोयम बिगिंस, द पोयम एंड्स वेयर डज इट बिगिन, जहां से इसकी शुरुआत होती वहीं पे इसका खात्मा होता है. वही ब्रेक 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 का साउंड. एंड ये चीज होता है कि दोज डेज या द हैंड विच आई हैव टच्ड इट विल नॉट कम बैक. ऑल दीज थिंग्स आई फाइंड, या यू कैन सी, यू कैन फाइंड. सो इट्स अ ब्यूटीफुल एलिजी, इट्स इन आवर सिलेबस. इसके बाद उनकी एक दूसरी पोयम यूलिसिस भी है जो हम लोगों को, मुझे लगता है कि दैट इज आल्सो इन आवर सिलेबस, वी हैव टू कवर. So I would like to share that image. I will go with stanza, एक stanza के या दो जो भी four stanzas today I will cover. means उसको explain करेंगे. If I find any important thing then I will just try to write something. It's a very common point कि ये LG है. LG is a lamenting song composed on the death of someone, and whose death you find here poet's bosom friend Arthur Henry Hallam. It's a very common point. It's the part of what is the part of you can say in memoriam 1850 में जो आया हुआ था these things you find. So let me share that image you find here. And that is I think it's visible. Is it visible? So you find what you find. It's visible, and here heading analysis of break, 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 and stanza one. And this analysis, when I talk, when I say ki it's the analysis, I myself is analyzing. You have the right to analyze. You have the right to get the beauty of the poem, to come with its strengths and shortcomings. You can just tell. But here I would like to explain. It's a beautiful elegiac lyric. It's a beautiful elegiac lyric composed by Alfred Lord Tennyson, a representative poet of Victorian age. And you find that in the first stanza of the poem, what the poet says, what the emotion he has, what the feeling he has, what he wants to express, what he wants to say, you find it there. And you find key break, break, break. ऑलरेडी जो पहली लाइन है, दिस द वेरी फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ द पोएम, it shows something is breaking, and this break not this break not first time, ये जो break है नहीं कि ये पहली बार, this break is not here for the first time, but you find कि break, and this break you find three times. How many times you find? You find it here three times. And when you go with the sound break, do you feel here eophony or cacophony? It's a very common question. Do you feel here eophony or cacophony? Yeah, anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
what do
sir.
you feel here?
It's very bad voice.
Sir, cacophony.
या हियर
Cacophony.
इज कैकोफोनी, जो साउंड निकल करके आ रहा वो साउंड कैसा है?
Harsh vibe.
कैकोफोनी या हार्श वॉइस, CACOPHONY, कैकोफोनी हार्श वॉइस के लिए आता है, जो स्वीट वॉइस ना हो, जो हमारे
No.
कानों को अच्छी ना लग रही है, कैकोफोनी भी फाइन। I just want to tell you here, even you don't come to know ki why the poet is lamenting, why the poet has used the word break, लेकिन उसको ऐसा लगता है कि everything has broken because Almighty God has snatched his bosom friend Arthur Henry Hallam in the prime age of his life. In the prime age of his life. His bosom friend Arthur Henry Hallam is no more in this world. He has left the earthly, he has completed earthly life and started his journey, that is the heavenly journey or life after death. But it is what you will come to know in the very prime age of the life of the poet's friend. It happened. And Arthur Henry Hallam was not the friend. Arthur Henry Hallam was only the friend for the poet, but you find that Arthur Henry Hallam केवल friend ही नहीं थे, but you find that he was engaged with his sister. He was engaged with his sister. So you find on one hand there was what? There was friendship. On the other hand, he was going to be the, you can say, if I use the word, a close relationship. A close relationship means his poet's sister's husband. So you find, and he died in the prime age of life, and Arthur Henry Hallam, in other words, if I say, that was everything for the poet. And when Arthur Henry Hallam left the world and no more in this world, then the poet feels that everything has broken. Number one. Number two, this time the poet is standing near seashore. Where the poet is standing? The poet is standing near seashore. And he catches the glimpses. And what is the glimpse? He catches some glimpses, and those glimpses are that the waves of the sea are dashing against the stony walls of the church, and when the waves of the sea dash, then it breaks, and the sound come break, break. Then the point is that why the poet has used the word break three times, not a single time. Why he has used the word break three times? Number one, to complete the sense. Number two, to emphasize that this is not a sweet sound. It shows that the waves of the sea are dashing, and when it dashes, the sound break, break, break come. And poet takes this sound very seriously because he himself is broken, his heart is broken, his soul is broken, his expectation is broken. With the passing of his friend Arthur Henry Hallam, his life is broken. Now he presents his situation, taking the image of the sea, and in the second line, you find there is the word O sea. The poet addresses sea, and here the sea has been personified. जो sea है वो personified कर दिया गया है, and sea is behaving like a human. And how? And he says break, break, break on thy. The word thy, it refers to what? Your. What your? Yeah, what you and what your? This thy and this your, it refers to sea. The poet addresses sea and says, on thy cold grey stone. The word cold grey. Again, you find what? You find the word grey, you find the word stone, you find the word cold. These three words just just reflect, just show, just represent the feelings of the poet, what the poet feels. Not only the stones of the sea is grey or cold, but the poet himself is cold. The poet himself is dead. The poet himself is lifeless. So the poet wants to present his inner situation just using these words, cold grey stones ओ सी. अरे समुद्र, तुम्हारी जो ये ठंडी स्टोन्स है उस पर तुम्हारी लहरें जाके टकराती है और आवाज ब्रेक, ब्रेक, ब्रेक आ रही है. ऑलरेडी आई टोल्ड यू कि द पोएट्स फ्रेंड इज बरीड वेयर द पोएट इज स्टैंडिंग. पोएट का दोस्त वहीं पर दफन है जहां पोएट खड़ा है, समुद्र के किनारे. तो वो उसकी कब्र पर उसकी मजार को देखता है, रो रहा है, या आप कह सकते हैं अंदर से उसकी स्थिति बहुत ही पिटिएबल है, बहुत ही प्लाइड सिचुएशन है, मिजरेबल है, उसको एग्नी है. He is just, you can say, crying, weeping. He is in broken situation, but you find that he presents his inner situation, taking the image of the sea. That is very important. So the word cold, gray, stone, you find what? You find here DTR. If you find DTR, again it gives you harsh sound, harsh tone. It doesn't please us. It doesn't please. But you find it doesn't soothe our ear. So it shows what? It shows a miserable situation, the plight condition, the broken condition, broken heart of the poet, broken emotions of the poet. फर्दर ही सेज, अभी तक तो समुद्र की इमेज को उसने पेश किया, फिर कहते हैं एंड, और मैं भी का मतलब जो समुद्र की हालत है, जो उसमें से उठने वाली लहरें हैं, जो वो कोलगरी स्टोन से टकराती है, जो ब्रेक ब्रेक साउंड निकल रहा है, वो टूट जा रही है लेकिन कुछ कह नहीं पा रही, अपने इरादों को कंप्लीट नहीं कर पा रही है. द सेम थिंग ही सेज एंड आई वुड, और शायद ऐसी मेरी भी हालत है. दैट माई टंग, मेरी भी टंग, मतलब मेरी भी अपनी जुबा, कुड अटर, वो कुछ कहना चाहती है. कुड अटर, अटर मीन्स ट्राई टू से, ट्राई टू से. मेरी अपनी जो जुबा है वह भी अटर कर रही है, कुछ अटर की, लेकिन वह क्या है? वह अटरिंग ही कंडीशन में. अटर वर्ड्स का मतलब ये कि ट्राइंग टू से बट कुड नॉट से, ट्राइंग टू से बट कुड नॉट से, ट्राई टू स्पीक बट कुड नॉट स्पीक. जैसे एक ऐसी स्थिति है कि इट सीम्स दैट कि जो मेरा गला है या जो मेरा टंग है वो ब्लॉक हो चुका है, इट्स नॉट वर्किंग प्रॉपरली। एंड व्हाई दिस सिचुएशन बिकॉज ऑफ डीप एगनी, बिकॉज ऑफ सारो, बिकॉज ऑफ पेन, because my friend is no more in this world, Arthur Henry Hallam has left the world। फिर वो कहते हैं the thoughts that arise in me, जो भी विचारों का समुद्र, जो भी विचारों का प्रवाह मेरे अंदर उठ रहा है, मैं उसे अभिव्यक्त करना चाहता हूँ, मैं उसे कहना चाहता हूँ, मैं उसे बताना चाहता हूँ, लेकिन मैं बता नहीं पा रहा हूँ। द थॉट्स दैट अराइज इन मी, I just want to say, I just want to tell you a very significant point, and what is that? When you find the first stanza, you here find the two things. One is what? One is a non-living thing, that is the sea, but that sea has been personified and presented as a living thing, and that sea, that is a non-living thing, that is also behaving, that is also, you can say ki, that the sea is crying, the sea is lamenting, the sea is weeping, the sea is in deep agony, the sea is in pain, can say helpless situation of the sea. In the third line, you find the poet presents his situation. He says that he himself is helpless. He himself no person to express his thought or say anything, and that is why you find must to say but unable to say anything. So in this way, you find here this C is rhyming with me. So if you go with the first line A, if you go with the second line B, then you find utter. Utter is not rhyming. This is C. Then you find what? B. A, B, C, B. Already I told you. So this is what? This is the first stanza. So analysis of break, break, break. First stanza, you find C, you find helpless poet, and both are helpless. One is non-living object and second is living object. One is lamenting, one wants to cry, one wants to express. Both are broken, and this is why to show the broken situation, you find here the word break, break, break. And I think you got it. If you got it, let me allow you to share the second image if you got it. I think you got it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Should I share the second image? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, just to closing. Before closing, I want to erase these things ताकि आपको clear रहे. Already I have written it here. There. Yeah. And in that image, you find what that is the you find stanza 2. Already I told you कि the second stanza is just opposite to the first stanza. In the first stanza, the poet tells about himself. The poet just catches the glimpses of the sea and especially its waves, how are they dashing against the stony walls of the church. In stanza 2, you find because the poet is standing near seashore and he has captured two other images that is just opposite to the first image. In stanza 2, he addresses a fisherman's boy, number one. And second, he addresses sailor land. Now, what is the activity of the fisherman's boy? That he shouts, that he is singing, or you can say playing, that he shouts with his sister at play. वो अपनी बहन के साथ खेल खेल में कुछ बातें कर रहा है, चिल्ला रहा है, शाउटिंग कर रहा है। सेलर लाइट का क्या कर रहा है, सिंगिंग कर रहा है। नाउ आई जस्ट वांट टू आस्क अ क्वेश्चन कि वाज द पोएट प्लेइंग, वाज द पोएट शाउटिंग, वाज द पोएट सिंगिंग? You can reply. I know you know it very well. You can reply. Was the poet singing in the first stanza? Was the poet shouting? Was the poet, you can say, dancing? No. The poet was weeping. The poet was crying. The poet was lamenting. The poet was in deep agony. He was in miserable situation, helpless. His heart was broken. His soul was broken. He has ultimately, what you can say, कि बहुत ज्यादा दुख में था. नाउ आई जस्ट वांट टू से हियर द सेकंड स्टैंजा में, ओ वेल फॉर द फिशरमैन्स बॉय. You find this is the chemistry of life, this is the mystery of life. At a particular place, you find someone weeps and someone dance and someone laughs. At a particular place, एक ही जगह पर दो तरह की तस्वीर देखी जा सकती है. पोयट क्या करता है, शायद सेकेंड स्टैंजा में वह अपने दिमाग को हटाने के लिए इस तस्वीर को देखता, हमारे सामने पेश करता है. या तो वह ये दिखाना चाहता है कि life is what he wants to present. So this is the color of life. One hand he was lamenting, he was crying. On the other hand, he has given the picture of the fisherman's boy. Oh well for the fisherman's boy. Oh well. अरे अरे देखिए जो फिशरमैन बॉय है, that he shouts with his sister at play. He is playing with his sister and shouting. So you find this is what you find this is another image that is happening in the seashore. You know it very well कि फिशरमैन्स बॉय और सेलर्स लैड, ये दोनों का समुद्र उनका घर होगा. और पोएट ने ऐसा नहीं कहा वहां पर कि ही इज सेइंग ओ वेल फॉर द पॉलिटिशियंस बॉय, ओ वेल फॉर द leaders boy. No, he has presented a very beautiful image that is associated with that place and says, oh well for the fisherman's boy, that he shouts with his sister at slave. ओ वेल फॉर द सेलर लैड. और किसका, नाविक के लड़के को इशारा करके कहता है दैट ही सिंग्स, वह सिंगिंग कर रहा है कहां पर, इन हिज ऑन द बे. सबसे पहला चीज की विक्टोरियन एज में जो सी था, सी वॉज द सिंबल ऑफ लाइफ. जितना व्यवसाय था, जितना व्यापार था, सब सी से होता था. और खासकर सेलर्स लैंड और फिशरमैन का जो बॉय है, ये सी उनकी जिंदगी होती है. यू कैन से कि उनका घर होता है. दे पास their whole lives there. So I just want to tell you, he doesn't want to tell about the business because he was not writing any type of poem that the economy of Victorian era. But this line is why, yeah, this poem is only about his dead friend. So he here tells that he ki poet is unhappy, poet is lamenting, poet is crying, but on the other hand, there is fishermen who are they are busy in their life. He's shouting with his sisters at play. The sailor's lad, he's singing in his boat on the bay. But the situation is how for them the situation is normal. उनके लिए situation normal है. They are enjoying in their life. They don't know the chemistry of life. They don't know the mystery of life. They are immature. As they will grow, they will also face these problems. So they don't know the philosophy of life and death, but the poet has seen it. His own, you can say, the very close friend has gone. एक तो मीनिंग ये निकलती है, दूसरा मीनिंग ये भी निकल सकता है कि शायद आर्थर हेनरी हैलम के साथ जो है वह वैसे ही खेला था जैसे फिशरमैन बॉय अपनी बहन के साथ खेल रहा है, जैसे सेलर लैड जो है सिंगिंग कर रहा अपनी बोट में.
कमिंग सर। हेलो।
सर की वॉइस आ रही है?
नहीं यार, कहाँ आ रही है?
नहीं आ
नो
रही
नो।
है।
हेलो, आवाज नहीं आ रही सर की? क्या मेरी तरफ
नो सर,
नहीं आ?
नहीं, कहीं आवाज नहीं आ रही
किसी की
सर,
आ
कहीं
नहीं
नहीं आ
आ
रही
रही, डर लग रहा, डर लग
हेलो। हेलो। हेलो।
आवाज नहीं आ रही है, नेटवर्क इशू है, प्रॉब्लम कानपुर में।
अब देर हो गई, सर की आवाज नहीं आ रही।
हाँ सर, लग रहा है
मौसम
एक्सप्लेन करे
खराब
जा
है
रहे हैं
तो।
क्या? नहीं आ रहा है।
कॉल कर दी जाती सर के पे।
करिए, कोई लोग कॉल करिए।
स्क्रीन शेयर नहीं हो पा रही है, सभी लोगों के पास पहुंच रही है स्क्रीन क्या?
हकीम सर कॉल कर लीजिए सर को।
नहीं, स्क्रीन भी नहीं आ रही है।
ब्रजेंद्र जी, कॉल कॉल की जाए सर को।
सर को कॉल करिए, जानकारी करिए क्या प्रॉब्लम हो रही है।
मैसेज तो डाल दिया है ग्रुप में।
स्क्रीन शेयर नहीं हो पा रही है। एक्चुअली क्या है कि कानपुर में यहाँ मौसम खराब चल रहा है इस समय। हो
स्क्रीन
सकता है
आवाज
कि
दोनों बंद हैं।
सर की एरिया में ज्यादा हो, क्योंकि मेरे साइड भी इधर है, कानपुर में ही।
लग रहा है सर पढ़ाए जा रहे हैं।
कॉल की थी, सर ने नंबर काट दिया है।
अरे तो क्लास चलती रहेगी।
एक बार ट्राई करिए ना फिर से। कोई
बॉक्स में मैसेज भेज दीजिए, मैसेज कर दीजिए सर को।
कोई कर नहीं रहा है सब।
अरे मैसेज कर दिया ग्रुप में, सर को कॉल भी किए, वो उठा नहीं रहे हैं, काट रहे हैं।
ओके ओके ओके।
हम इसको है।
क्लास चल रही है, आवाज नहीं आ रही।
फोन किया, फोन काट रहे हैं। कितना फोन किया जाए, 2-3 बार तो किया हूँ, फोन काट दे रहे हैं बार बार।
चल रही है।
हाँ यही तो है।
एक स्क्रीन और